Good afternoon, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and this afternoon I am going to review the final installment of Josh Kirby Time Warrior, which is entitled Last Battle for the Universe. This is the last film in this particular series. I'm sorry there wasn't any more. I wish there had been, because it was really a good video series, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that at the end of this particular video. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel about every single one of these particular movies. Okay? I'm going to review the whole set. So I want you to pay attention, because I'm going to tell you a lot of stuff. And yes, I did make a lot of notes for this. So I want you to stay tuned. Some of these questions, they may eventually get answered. Some of them may never be answered. But we'll find out. All right. So, if you do happen to have a copy of this on DVD, or if you're doing Amazon Prime, it doesn't matter either way. Get it started, and then compare what you see on the screen to what I'm saying here. Now, the first thing is, it is true that Josh Kirby is a noble time warrior. However, do you really think he stands a chance in battling Irwin? Really? And Josh didn't bother to even attempt to knock the weapon out of Irwin's hand at any point. Okay. Now, Irwin can't use his staff as a weapon, but yet he can still use that staff to move matter wherever he likes. He's got enough power in that power staff to move matter from one place to the other. I understand the computer part. The computer part may still work, even though he doesn't have enough power to use it as a weapon. But he's still able to transfer matter from one place to the other with the staff? Really? Okay. Now, Irwin disappears. Why did Josh start running after him? He's gone. What did that accomplish? Now, Dr. Zoetrope's armor was damaged, yet Irwin used it to travel through time? Really? And how did Zoetrope recharge his armor anyway? And how did Irwin find the decimator? It was not clearly explained. And why didn't Zoetrope, when they found the decimator in the first place, why didn't he just stop Irwin right then and there, or at least attempt to do so? Oh, sure, he talked to him, but he didn't actually physically try to stop Irwin at all. Now, if Irwin has finally turned over the decimator to the Supreme Prefect, why is it still in front of him? It should be in the hands of the Supreme Prefect, shouldn't it? And how did Dr. Zoetrope find the nullifier? That's never explained. And how does the nullifier put an end to the decimator? That's never explained either. And how can Irwin decree anything? And does the nullifier have some instruction manual that we never saw? And I know that Irwin had to retrace his steps, but he was already near Nightmare Hollow. Why would he have to go back there? There's really no need. And where did Zoetrope receive any combat training? Who instructed him? I'd like to know. And how did Irwin reassemble that nullifier so fast? Not sure. Oh, Irwin calls the Supreme Prefect, and when he answers, he doesn't know who he's talking to. Irwin does not know that he's talking to the Supreme Prefect? Really? And why didn't Irwin, right after he arrived back where he belonged in the 25th century, why didn't he just remove his armor? I'd like to know that. And how did Josh's mother die? That's never explained. And what was Josh's mom's major? Remember, she was in college. I know it had something to do with engineering, but what was her big major? And what courses did she take? Who were her teachers? None of this is explained at all. Now, if Josh's parents are staying at Josh's mom's parents' house, how did Josh's dad acquire that house? That's never explained. How did Irwin make the nullifier invisible? That's never explained either. And why did Irwin even bother to reassemble a nullifier? He could have made the whole nullifier invisible without reassembling it at all. Now, how did the time mower shrink Josh and all of his friends? It shrunk Josh and Prism and Azabeth, and of course it shrunk Dr. Zoetrope. How did that happen? And what book was Josh's mom reading? We couldn't see the title. Now, how could Irwin's techs pick up the nullifier pieces when they couldn't see them? They wouldn't even know where they were. Oh, and how did Josh's needle, remember he had that thimble and the needle thing, how did his needle destroy the time platform they were using to transport those nullifier components to the far reaches of time and space? Well, I'd like to know that. And how did Dr. Zoetrope manage to make those nullifier components visible again? And when they make how could they reassemble the nullifier when they couldn't see it in the first place? I mean, Josh couldn't see it, Zoetrope couldn't see it. How could they reassemble it while it was still invisible? I don't know. That's not explained. And how did Josh finally return home? They don't explain that one either. And why did Josh's teacher, okay, Josh had a female history teacher. Why did she change her mind about G-rated history? That's never explained. And Josh's friend Irwin in school is the how is the Irwin of the future the ancestor of the Irwin of the past? Wouldn't it be right to say that the Irwin of the past is the ancestor of the Irwin of the future? Think about that. Bet you didn't pick that one up. Okay. So overall, what did I think of this video series? Well, I was working in the video department of a grocery store when I got first introduced to this stuff. Okay? We had the first 3 episodes. And at the time, all we could play, we had these 2 video monitors. Okay? And we had 2 VCRs at the time. Okay, this was back in the 1990s. This was well before DVDs took over. Okay, they did finally take over, but it didn't happen right away. But anyway, we could only play for our customers G and PG rated movies. Well, that left us with a very limited selection. We could either play Disney movies, and these were Disney cartoons, and I have to say that Aladdin was done very, very well. Robin Williams did an excellent job in Aladdin. Okay, so I like that one. But most of the other Disney flicks, especially when we're talking about the cartoons, they just didn't appeal to me at all. Then you had Timmy the Tooth. Anybody's ever watched that? If you like it, great. I didn't. I just absolutely could not stand it. So if you didn't want to show a Disney movie, well, it was animated ones, and you didn't want to show the Timmy the Tooth, you had Josh Kirby. Now you say, well, wait a minute. You got to watch the first 3 episodes at work. What about the other 3? Well, at the time, Blockbuster was a major franchise. No kidding there. But what it was is they could acquire episodes 4 and 5, but it wasn't in the Decatur store, so they had to actually contact another store, which then brought it to Blockbuster here in Decatur, and I was able to rent them out and watch them. But what about number 6? I had to specially order that particular video from Amazon. Alright, so overall, because of the unique situation I was in, I did enjoy these movies. Yes, they are silly, no question about that. There was a lot of silliness in all these movies. But you have to admit, Azabeth Siege was cute. Okay? And quite talented, to be perfectly honest with you. Jennifer Burns did a real good job with that. And the contrast between Corbin Allred and his portrayal of Josh and the portrayal of the guy who played Irwin 1138, which, by the way, I thought was rather sad that the guy who played Irwin 1138, his name was not put in the main credits. I think that was kind of not very good. But anyway, there was a lot of good qualities about these movies. There really was. And I wish they had done more. I really do. So, overall, I like them. I have them. As you well know, I took the time to review them. I gave you lots and lots of questions for you to think on and ponder on. But another thing I want you to think about is this. If Prism knew the entire time the real situation between Irwin and Zoetrope, well, the only reason I can ever think of that Prism would ever cooperate with Irwin was that at some point he was going to actually grab the nullifier components from Irwin and put the universe back in proper order. That's the only reason I could think of. Other than that, I would have absolutely no reason why Prism would be so cooperative with Irwin. I would think he'd rather ally himself with Zoetrope. But anyway, I want you to think about that as well. Alright, well, I want to thank you very much for watching all 6 of these presentations. I want to wish you guys a very Merry Christmas. This is certainly not the last video that I'm going to do for Christmas Eve. So, I don't want you to give up. I want you to stay tuned because I have a lot more coming. Alright? Now, I am sorry that I went ahead and put HTML Lesson 158 before this. But I felt that that was a very important video for you guys to watch, and it took me a long time to put that thing together. So I hope you enjoyed that presentation. Now you're enjoying this one. You see, I didn't leave you out after all. Alright. Well, again, I want to thank you very much for tuning in this fine Christmas Eve and joining me. And I hope you enjoyed all this. I'm going to tell you more this very day. Not just in a future video, but this very day there will actually be more videos. And so what I'd like for you to do is to stay tuned, and hopefully this will tide you over until Christmas Day, where you can actually unwrap your presents and have some fun. Alright. Well, I will be spending Christmas Day opening presents, playing video games, that kind of thing. So you're not going to see any uploads Christmas Day. These have already been previously uploaded several days before Christmas Day, so there you go. Alright, I want to thank you very much for tuning in. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned.